Hey guys, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to recreate the head of the game Black Myth Wukong. So this is my final render. Okay, just to show you guys a bit of close up on the skin pore detail. So in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys the full process of how I went about gathering reference for this, and then doing a final render for this. So let's get to it. So probably let me just show you guys other renders also. So this render is done in Arnold for Maya. So this tutorial covers every single bit of the tutorial from start to finish using a base mesh. So I started with gathering reference from the breakdown of, or rather the game trailer for the Wukong character. So I took screenshots, as you can see. Then you would see a lot of similarities to this. I kind of went in and then took some screenshots to kind of figure out, kind of get a close up. As you can see, the resemblance looks very similar to that of mine. So we're kind of going for more of a likeness to it. I took quite a number of screenshots just to better get a feel of what I'll be going for. So if you watch the trailer, you'll notice screenshots similar to that of the trailer. So after gathering my reference, I kind of looked for the animal that was kind of very close to the creature itself, which was this Maccabee monkey. Then I went in and then took more screenshot of it using my pure ref, just so I can kind of capture the silhouette and the head structure a bit more properly, especially on the beard region, or the beard region where it's not very visible. Even for the nose, you can see similarities also from the nose. This particular one better gives a proper idea of what you would see in the character's nose, which is giving us a clear example of what this Wukong character is being sculpted out from, a more realistic approach for it. Though the silhouette looks a bit different for the mouth, you can see a more realistic mouth to it. So the next step was to figure out the right base mesh to use. Next step was to figure out the right base mesh to use. So I kind of ended up using this particular base mesh from 3D Scan Store to use. Then I started prepping up the model to kind of get this to be properly set up for importation, making sure we're using a real world scale for it, and setting it up in Maya accurately just to make sure we're doing the right thing with the proper measurements for an average head, just to make sure subsurface scattering is working accurately later on. Then I got the head into ZBrush and then started sculpting in. At this point, I've already kind of captured most of the likeness using a lot of references I gathered over the years, kind of get proportional or anatomical accuracy to the model inside of ZBrush, kind of iterating and working in between files or in between duplicates just to make sure we're on the right track, making sure the expression on the face, the block out from the primary to the secondary to the tertiary details are all working accurately based on anatomical reference, while keeping in mind the Black Wukong likeness in mind. So at this stage, I was already kind of working on the skin pores using texture in XYZ maps, flip normal map as a base to kind of get some good looking skin pore detail in there, and also using the texture in XYZ 175 alpha to kind of get a more precise look to the skin pores inside of ZBrush. Then I jumped right into, after exporting and getting the right look for my sculpts in ZBrush, kind of exported this out. I'm going to show you guys the entire process for exporting this out. So bringing this into Substance Painter, I started figuring out how to, I'm going to show you guys the full process on how I figured out how to sculpt, or rather how to texture paint realistic Caucasian skin inside of Substance Painter using references I've gathered online over the years, using cavity maps, normal map, curvature map, then using other albino references also to kind of get a good general blockout for the general blockout for the skin texturing details. And then next was to do some kind of shadow casting likeness to it, just kind of figure out if the forms are working in correctly in combination with the finished textured version of the model. And then I'm showing you guys how to export out the maps. As you can see, how to export out the maps, and then after doing the full texturing process for the eye, the armor, the everything needed just to get our likeness of the skin texturing process as accurate as possible, and then getting it set up to be sent into Maya for final rendering. But before that, we needed to get good workings on the air using XGen inside of Maya. So I'm going to show you guys the entire process, my entire process of using and setting up XGen properly to get good looking fiber airs on our mesh. So I started with the head air, and then I moved on to creating similar, following my process if you would, creating beards inside of XGen, just to make sure looking as realistic as possible, following our reference. I'm showing you guys the full process from scratch, how to work with XGen, setting up clumping maps, density maps, and the right thickness for the hair to make it look accurate and as realistic as possible. And not only that, so I also show you guys how to set up good or accurate enough eyebrows, setting up descriptions and collections, also creating eyelashes also for the character in XGen. So this is going to be a full, no step skipped process from start to finish. So even setting up proper mustache also to get everything going. And after setting this up, I moved on to setting up my stage with some HDRI lighting, just to make sure everything is working correctly before I hit the render button on this. I'm going to show you guys my process of kind of editing existing HDRI map with different setup, just to get different light setup inside the pre-existing HDRI we're already using for the lighting process. So showing you guys a step-by-step process of how we begin to do some look development for the character skin, and making sure we're working accurately. As you can see, the SSS working correctly on the albedo. Showing you guys how to set up the displacement map, setting up the normal map, setting up the texture map to get better accurate texturing or visuals on our render, and how to optimize the render also for faster rendering. I also went in to kind of do an extra additional video, just show you guys how kind of paint the face with some kind of maxing, and I'm going to show you guys also how to export out that max as a form of black and white texture, and then bring that back into more or less like on blood stains on the face. And then I'm showing you guys how to do the texturing for the eyes also, so you can see how realistic the eyes is all from scratch. I'm show you guys how to kind of break up, as you can see, textures on the painted and textures on the face, more or less like a kind of face paint. All from scratch, no steps skipped. Then we move on to accurately importing all of those textures were painted, creating marks for it, and then bringing this into Arnold to kind of render this out on top of our model, just to make sure everything is working correctly and accurately as it should, and kind of figuring out the difficulties or challenges you might encounter, and then walking you guys through on how to comfortably overcome those challenges. Then we finalize this with doing some look development for the generated XGen air, and explaining different parameters concerning the Arnold air, Arnold surface air, Arnold standard air shader to get accurate results for any type of air you want to. Even I'm going to show you guys how to. I'm also going to show you guys how to create marks for generating white air inside of Arnold using Substance Painter as an external package to kind of get variations of where we want white hairs to be springing out from in our Arnold render. So after done with the process, we should be getting this as a final result. As you can see, white hair is springing out from where we kind of generated maps from inside of Substance Painter. So after going through the entire step, you should be able to comfortably replicate the entire thing from start to finish. I'm also going to be providing the project files if needed to kind of help you guys, providing links to assets that kind of use to kind of recreate this from start to finish without any issues. So at the end of this course, you should be able to recreate something very similar to mine, no step skipped, and painting skin textures from scratch, creating XGen hair, creating realistic brown eyes, making sure you have realistic result at the end of the day, creating white strands, working and manipulating XGen guides, and then outputting something as realistic as this as your final output. So without further ado, let's get started on this. Bye for now.